Hello everyone, my name is Lukewhite and welcome back to another Hot Lap Guide where today we're going to be going for a lap of Imola. Now, this track, while it isn't the most technical, it's also one of the more challenging ones simply because of the curbs. You've got to really find the balance between taking too much and not taking enough, because if you do either of those, you just lose tons of time. It's one of those tracks where, particularly in Sector 3, with the really difficult bus stop chicane, you've got to really have a bit of commitment over the curves, but you've ultimately got to take the right line. If you take the wrong line at any angle, if you're even 1 degree pointing the wrong direction, the curves will punish you massively. And obviously, some cars struggle more than others. As for the recommendations, I'd say Aston, BMW, Bentley, Merc, maybe Porsche if you're confident with it. The Porsche is a few tenths adrift of the Aston. Like the Aston could do 39.7, 39.8. Ideally, this can do. I think if I nailed the lap of 39, but it'd be very, very difficult. It's very, very difficult to get that lap correct. But yeah, without further ado, let's get into this lap. So, first corner, you want to be braking around that left-hand orange barrier. And I find that it's better to compromise your entry. So the first left, it's better to compromise your speed a little bit through here to prioritize the exit. And you can see we can actually do that. We do actually do that through here. We take a little bit less speed than you'd expect, take a little bit less curb, but you can see we're on the throttle fully and maintain full throttle all the way through. It's all about just keeping smooth, not taking too much of the curbs, but taking enough that the car is riding smoothly. And you can see we've got a lot of speed through there. I think that was 21.8 sector 1, which in the Porsche is super strong. Now coming into here, braking it just around the 50-meter board on the right hand side, straight down a gear, trying to manage the oversteer. I think I took a little bit too much speed in through here, so if you brake a little bit earlier, it's not really a problem. But you ideally want to take kind of the back of this curb, and keeping the car as far to the left hand side as is possible. Braking down another gear, taking a little bit of this right hand curb, getting back on the throttle as early as possible. Now, this corner, as was the case with the first, second, and third corner, compromise your entry. Compromise the left a little bit to make your right hander easier, because if you go in too fast to the left, you're just going to slide right on the right and ultimately grab the gravel, which is, not what you really want. Rush the car over to the right hand side, brake at the 50-meter board, down 3 gears briefly, and then short shift up to gear 2. And then at this point, exactly the midpoint of the corner, you want to be really committing on the throttle, using enough exit curb, but not too much, because if you use too much, you bottom out on the curb and it just loses you loads of time. So that corner is quite deceptive actually, because you can very easily go in way too fast. But braking at the 50-meter board, getting to the curb relatively early in the corner and hugging it round seems to be the best approach from me, because if you go out too wide, the car will just slide you off the rubber. And again, it's not really worth it for the exit. Now coming up to here, very, very difficult corner, but a corner that requires a lot of commitment. Now keep over to the right hand side, brake briefly at the 50-meter board, down 2 gears, off the brake straight away and back on the throttle as soon as we touch this curb. But again, you can see we've not taken that much. We've only really nibbled it, because if you take too much, you'll either cause the car to overslow, because it does stall the car mid-corner, or it will throw you off the track on the exit, which is, well, you want neither outcome. So I'd say in most cars you'd want to miss that curb, but in the Porsche you can just take a tiny little bit. It does help rotate the car if you take a bit too much speed through, for example. Bringing the car right across the left hand side, carrying the straightest and shortest line to the next corner. Going to here, braking, down the gear, and then trying to keep the car as straight as possible under braking here. Only using a little bit of the entry curb, because if you use too much, it's very easy. These curbs are very unforgiving. So if you take too much curb, the car will just go straight, especially in the Aston. I found that this was a big issue. And I ended up just only running the Tricolore curbs for Acqua Minerale. But again, as is the case with most corners on this track, most combination corners, it's better to slow down the first part a bit more, just so that you're safer through the second part of Acqua Minerale. So coming to here, you want to take a little bit of curb, not too much, because if you take too much, you will just invalidate your lap, because it'll shoot you wide. But yeah, just nibble the curb. Use enough exits. Use enough exit curb that you can straddle this big green curb in the middle. But if you go over this guttering on the left hand side, you can see the guttering, um, or the drainage system in the middle of the curb. If you go over that with your left wheels, you will invalidate your lap. So it's very, very crucial to be a little bit careful for that corner. Now coming into here, braking around the start of this curb, down to gear 2. But one thing I will say, it's very crucial to hit these curbs as straight on as possible. If you hit these curbs with a straight wheel and a straight car, you'll take them a lot smoother than you would otherwise. And you see here, we take the car is pretty much straight. We are turning over the curb, but the car hits the curb pretty much straight on between the chicanes, which is really crucial. And it means the car is a lot safer over the curbs. It means you can take a lot more curb than you would normally expect without invalidating your lap. Second part, we don't take as much curb as the first one. We take a little bit less of the second one, but we ultimately carry a lot of speed through. And I'd say for those corners, particularly in a race situation, it's better to take less curb than more, because it's very easy to either bounce over the curb too much, or even in the case of the second curb, to spin. It's very easy to hook your rear wheel on the second curb, and it will just pirouette your car. So it's better to take a little less curb, be a little bit conservative, because you honestly won't lose that much time. But on a quali lap, no holds barred, you just got to yeet it over there. Now coming to the final couple of corners, the lap is pretty much over, but it's still very difficult to get this braking point right. Brake at the 100-meter board, downhill, so you've got to try and brake earlier than you think, get a lot of speed off, but then release the brake early so you can carry quite a lot of mid-corner speed. Hook the left-hand curb, get on the throttle nice and early. Be really careful not to dip a wheel on the gravel here. It's very easy to do, and it will just mean the car understeers. Turn pretty much as the green rumble strip ends for here, and that'll mean that you can get the back of this tricolore curb and get on the throttle nice and early, and use enough rumble strip to facilitate your exit, but not too much to bog the car. Shortest run up to line, and that is a lap of Imola, a 1 minute 40.035. So a very strong lap in the Porsche. Again, not perfect. There is a 39 in there. But at the end of the day, it's one of those tracks where even if you're a few tenths off, you can still grab pole, because it's so difficult to get every curb combination correct. But my general tips for this track is just hit the curbs as straight as possible. If the car is straight, then you're less likely to bounce over the curbs, and they're less likely to punish you in return. Second of all, if your car is refusing to ride the curbs point blank, I'd advise hitting them with a bit of throttle if possible. So arguably, if you slow the car down a bit more on entry and use the throttle as you hit the curbs, it'll get the front up in the air, which means that you can take the curbs at more of an angle like this, so the car takes the curbs more smoothly. So yeah, hopefully that guide has been useful to you. Hopefully you enjoy any races you do at Imola. Good luck in the races. If you enjoyed and if you found it helpful, please leave a like down below, leave a comment as well. Join my coaching Discord, share it with any friends or teammates that you think would help. And yeah, take care, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.